We're finally here. Dear viewer, you came to watch this video because you want to know how I conquered my addiction of smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke for about 15 years of my life before I finally came to the decision that I've had enough. And I did feel trapped. I did feel that I was never going to conquer it at some point, and I knew that it's never going to end. So if you feel that you are in a pit and you're trapped, and this trap might last you until the end of your days, you might be in the right place, because I want to share with you what helped me overcome my addictions. A quick disclaimer: this is not going to be a flashy video. This is going to be me talking through the steps that I have taken that helped me. And hopefully you will find this beneficial and it will help you in your life. So let's walk through this one by one, step by step. There are 5 stages and 5 important steps to consider. Let's start with the first one. The first one is admit your dark side. Admit your addiction. At some point, you have to admit that the cigarettes and the tobacco is taking over. And it is something that is in priority before everything else. A perfect example would be your children. Every time you smoke a cigarette, you set an example. Although I don't know a single parent in the world who would want their children to smoke, yet you constantly demonstrate that example to them, that you are willing to give in to your addictions. You can even say that you prioritize smoking over your loved ones. For men, this is especially true, or for women. When your loved one gives you an ultimatum, quit smoking right now or we break up, do you think that ultimatum is going to work? Maybe because you prioritize your cigarette smoking addiction higher than your loved ones. Does that idea scare you? Can you admit that to yourself, that your addiction is a higher value or higher priority to you? If that is something that you can really accept your dark side, then you are one step closer towards freeing yourself. Because if you don't see a dark side, then there is nothing to work with. If you accept and if you internalize, embrace the idea that yes, I have been wrong, I have had wrong ways, I've went through life prioritizing this addiction over everything else. If you accept that, then you're ready to take to step number 2. So at this point, I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to tell you, oh, you're such a bad person that you prioritize smoking over your loved ones, over your children, over your family. I'm not here to say that. It's just enough that you get this idea in your head. The next step, step number 2, is to analyze your thoughts. You analyze how you think and how you justify yourself, how you justify smoking. Each smoker has a set of justifications, a set of ideas that helps them to say, oh, it's okay that I do this because. I'm going to go through a list of 10 justifications that smokers convince themselves why it's a great idea. If any of these ring true, just make a mental note. First, I am bored, so I relieve boredom. Smoking helps me to focus, helps me to concentrate. Smoking helps me to relieve stress. I'm very stressed, I have a stressed life, and this is one thing that helps me to relieve my stress. Smoking is a great way for me to pity myself. Oh, nobody likes me, I don't have any connections, I don't have any emotional connections, so it's okay that I compensate that connection with smoking. I really enjoy a cigarette after a coffee. I really enjoy smoking with alcohol. I really enjoy smoking after eating. Or you can say something like, oh, I'm going to die anyway. What does it matter if I smoke another cigarette? Or you can say, it tastes great. And in my personal experience, because I'm a diver, scuba diver, I used to really indulge in smoking specifically after a scuba dive. After having myself go through the dive and cleanse my lungs with oxygen, I come out of the sea and I really have to go and puff away. That was something that was really difficult for me to overcome and to accept that it has no benefit for me at all. So once you notice the thoughts that you have, the thoughts that you justify yourself with, at that point you need to understand that's an absolute lie. You're lying to yourself. I mean, try to really think about it. Does putting a cigarette in your mouth and inhaling that poison really relieve boredom? What is fun in that? Or how does that help you to communicate with your friends? Does that really help you to talk to someone? Does that really help you to connect with people? Is that necessary to put that thing in your mouth and inhale it every time so you can talk to somebody? Is it necessary to say to yourself, oh, I need to smoke to feel confident, to feel calm? Does it really relieve stress, or does it actually destroy your nervous system? So you need to unwind the brainwashing that you have done to yourself and notice every time you smoke, every time you put that cigarette in your mouth, what kind of thoughts accompany you? How do you justify that? Once you notice and you become aware of these thoughts, you have to kind of unwind the illusion and understand that this is not true, that you don't actually need a cigarette to have food taste better, or to have, does it really taste good? I highly doubt that. So now that you've pinpointed all the thoughts and justifications that come into your mind every time you want to puff away, you're ready for step number 3. Step number 3 is dealing, as I like to call it, with the demons. The demons, it's a very abstract concept. You can imagine an actual invisible spirit following you around and feeding off your energy, or you can imagine an abstract being inside your consciousness giving you thoughts and ideas. Mainly destructive thoughts. In my personal experience, I kind of caught myself thinking when I was traveling home on a bike. I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna have this argument with my wife, and then I'm going to relieve the stress by puffing a cigarette away. And then I was like, wait, hold on. Am I really thinking that? Why am I thinking of conflict with a loved one so that I could relieve that stress later with a cigarette? Do I really want something like that for myself? Or other thoughts. For example, oh my God, I feel so inconfident, I feel so stressed. This is the only thing that relieves my stress. Is that really true? So these destructive thoughts are planted into your mind by those demons. And a great way to counter these destructive thoughts is actually to confront and address the demon inside your head. It's okay to talk to them sometimes and say like, I will feed you no longer. You will not feed off my energy anymore. You are not going to feed off of my thoughts, and you're not going to take my attention away from me anymore. I will starve you to death. When I say this to my inner demons, I kind of get that inner confidence rise, and I feel good that I'm getting my control back. This is a very helpful way to counter the destructive thoughts. If you analyze your thoughts objectively, you can notice that some thoughts are destructive and some thoughts are constructive, if you're able to distinguish them. For instance, you are not smoking for the third day, and then you find someone smoking on the street. How do you view that smoker? You can view them with jealousy and envy, like, oh, he's smoking a cigarette and I wish I was in his place. But in reality, this person is unfortunate, is miserable, is trapped, he's doomed until the end of his days to constantly go to that shop, constantly buy that poison, inhale it, and kill himself. And what is even more absurd, they will be happy to prioritize smoking over the well-being of their family. Is that something that you should really envy? Think about it. Or is it something that you should pity and look at these people and feel sorry for them? They are in a trap. They are not getting out of it. How and why would you ever envy that? So catch yourself thinking like, is that just a destructive thought? Why am I envying this person? I'm not supposed to envy them at all. I'm supposed to feel sorry for them. And don't be so judging and judgmental. Smokers are actually powerful and strong-willed and spirited people. Can you imagine that they really like poison and constantly destroy themselves, and yet they push on and they continue living, continue working, continue doing things the best they can, but they are just trapped. They have shackles. They are enslaved by this addiction. So it's a great thing once you pinpoint destructive thoughts, address them, talk to them. Don't let them consume you. Don't let them manipulate you back into the addiction. And once you start confronting this, you will start feeling much more confident. You will get the energy flowing up, and you will feel the shivers down your spine, and you will be like, yes, I'm getting my life back. I'm getting control. You are not running my life. So you talk to those demons, and they hear you, and they fear you. They fear that they will be left without food, without your fear, without your pain, without your energy. And once you get that through your head, you will feel so much more relieved. It's also a great idea to Make mental notes of the destructive thoughts you have and then share them with people. Be more aware, and that helps to self-reflect. All right, so the next thing that we should talk about is the rewards. What do you get for all that effort? And there's a lot of effort. The effort mainly comes in consciously realizing what's happening, consciously realizing that you are trapped, realizing that you're battling yourself inside. It takes a lot of attention. So once you free yourselves from the shackles, what do you get? People say the most regular and common thing is, oh, I save money and I preserve my health. But there's one thing that people never notice: you preserve your attention. Think about it. If you are a regular smoker, how many times a day do you actually think about going to the supermarket and buying that pack of horrible poison so that you can continue poisoning yourself? How many times a day do you plan to stop somewhere for a quick smoke? How many times do you abruptly cut your work off so you have a quick cigarette smoke? How much do you think about that? How much attention does that take away from you? Once I quit, I realized that I have more free time all of the sudden. I'm not planning to go to the shop to buy that anymore. I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm not planning to nick a cigarette from someone on the street anymore. It's something that doesn't occupy my mind anymore, because I have consciously decided that it's not going to take my attention. So what do you get? You suddenly have more free time. You suddenly realize that your attention is more yours than it is for that demon. You realize that, yes, you save a little bit more money and you save and preserve a little bit more health. So let's make a conclusion. Before going into, don't try to skip any steps, all right? The first step, remember, you have to admit how important it is for you now, how important is smoking for you now, how helpless you are, how enslaved and enshackled you are. Accept and admit it. Number two, analyze your thoughts. What thoughts trigger your urges the most? The urge to smoke usually lasts about 3 to 5 minutes. And if you don't inhale or if you don't smoke the cigarette, the urges usually go away. On your first few days, you might feel the urges come to you maybe 10 or 15 times. Work through that and try to analyze what thoughts trigger your actions to actually take a cigarette. The other thing that you can do that can help you relieve the urges is deep breathing. It's the inhalation that you do during the smoking, but we don't really breathe like that during our regular day. And if you try to take a deep breath when you want to smoke, you feel sudden relief. You relieve that stress without actually inhaling smoke. Wow, that feels good. And I don't need to take a cigarette for that. So, analyze your thoughts, monitor your urges, don't give in. Third, address, confront your demons, and don't let them manipulate you into self-pity, into self-destruction, into justifying these actions. If they are destructive, address them. Don't ignore it. And of course, The fourth point is the rewards. You will get your attention back. Don't view the smokers as some people that you have to envy, and don't judge them. The last thing you want is go and brag that you quit smoking and then suddenly you find yourself trapped again. If you addressed all these points correctly, you should find it so much more easier to actually let that disgusting habit go and bring your life back to you. Dear friends, I wish you an easy relief. I wish you to conquer these demons inside you. And I wish you prosperity and good health and goodwill and peace inside. Thank you for listening to this video. If you feel like you would like to thank me for sharing such insights, or if you feel that this helped you in any way, you can consider by donating into Patreon or donating into PayPal or into my crypto wallet. That would help me a lot. I'm looking forward to discuss and address more issues like this in the future. And every little donation will help me to guide you and help you to work through all these problems. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you guys a great time.